Welcome everyone. Today is, for me in New Zealand, November 24th. For many of you, it may be November 23rd. This is the fortnightly etcd triage meeting. My name's James. I'm an etcd reviewer, and I can see a lot of folks that I met in Chicago on the call, which is awesome. Thanks for joining. So we've got about 30 minutes to go through and try and take a little bit of pressure off the etcd project maintainers by hopefully taking care of a few smaller issues here and there and just doing some triage. I'll put the link to our doc in the chat for the call. There it is, and everyone is going to have access to that Google Docs so long as you are subscribed to the etcd dev Google Groups mailing list. So that'll give you edit access. Okay, cool. So first up, we're going to look at the Kubernetes project and look at PRs and issues that may need our attention. So PRs first. There are a few cherry picks open to update etcd to 3.5.10, the latest stable 3.5 release for the stable Kubernetes release branches, so 128, 127, and 126. Those are looking pretty good. I've reviewed these already. However, they just got rebased yesterday. And of course, in its eternal attempt to be helpful, the K8CI robot has removed the LGTM label from them after the rebase changes came in. So if there's someone on the call that has a moment, please follow the link in the doc. Take a look at these three PRs, and if they still look alright, feel free to add the LGTM back in. If you have a look through the changes in these, it's all extremely mild, just bumping the versions, and the changes have already been reviewed. Other than that, there's nothing really in the PR list, which is cool. That's easy. There's a couple of older ones. This is one I raised, was it last week or something, or a couple weeks back, and it's already approved. So yeah, we're good. Issues. And again, we look pretty good on the Kubernetes side team. So we've got two very old issues, one from 2019, one from 2014. We're not going to look at those today. I don't think we're going to make any progress with those. But we've got three newer triage accepted issues. So these have already been triaged. We don't need to worry too much about them. I do notice there is one of these which I think we can close. So we already have etcd bumped to 3.5.9 in Kubernetes stable release branches. So I think everything from this issue was merged, all these cherry picks here. So I think this can just be closed. Is there someone on the call that wouldn't, can volunteer to just have a quick look at this and close it down if it looks all sorted? I think it is, but or we can just do it right now, but up to you, team.
I can take a look if you want. This is the version bump, so this is pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and I'm pretty sure it's just already done with these cherry picks here. But yeah, if you can double check. So discuss during etcd meeting, assigned okay to check and close.
Do I need to be part of a cube group, I guess, to do this, or I don't think
I think you should be fine.
Okay.
Give it a go. Give it a go.
All right.
If not, like if you can just leave a comment, then I can do the actual /close if it won't let you. But give it a go.
Okay.
Okay. That is that, team. So those are our Kubernetes project issues and PRs for our queue. Let's move on to etcd project, and there's a few in here that we can, I think, tidy up. So this is an old PR for ARM64 end-to-end tests. It's now completely defunct because we've basically moved CI infrastructure since this point. It's an old one. It was going to be closed by stale. I'm just going to close it because it's no longer relevant. This can be closed. Yes, etcd CI infra changed. Cool. One less PR in the list. Moving on. Okay, this one here, I think it needs to be checked, but I think we can close this PR, and there's actually an associated issue as well. I'm kind of keen for a volunteer on this. So for a little bit of context, we've got different, obviously, like testing suites for etcd. One of those is the robustness tests, which verify etcd correctness. And those rely on, or some of those rely on go fails so that we can inject fail points into etcd at various points. And there's an issue here linked about adding, there we go, about adding a little bit of friendly kind of output if etcd hasn't been compiled with go fail support when attempting to run robustness tests. This was picked up and there was a PR attempted, which didn't quite hit the mark, but since then, some other changes have merged and they included a fix for the issue, I believe. So if we look at the changes that merged here from Chow from AWS, there is a change down here for checking if GoFail is enabled and if fail points are enabled when kicking off in tests. So I think this may kind of address the requirement, but if someone on the call can volunteer to kind of check over this and maybe try and actually run the robustness tests without maybe first running make GoFail enable to kind of confirm that you get that nice friendly output, then we could actually close off the PR and the issue.
I can take a look.
Awesome, thanks Murphy. So I'll tag you on the issue because that links to both things. So discussed during etcd triage meeting. It's possible this is already resolved via 16698. Signed Murphy codes to check and okay, awesome. So comment. Oh, it's not gonna let me assign you.
Huh.
That's weird. If you drop a comment on this, Murphy, it'll let me assign you. It's just
Okay.
yeah. But you should get a GitHub ping from that tag there. Okay. Jumping forward, team. Alrighty, another one where potentially this is a small fix if someone has a little bit of time to investigate and open a PR. If we jump down, so there's a pretty detailed bug report from this contributor here. And if we step through, it seems to boil down to a mutex not being initialized. And it may just come down to trying to figure out where the responsibility should sort of sit for initializing that mutex. And depending on the answer to that, it may actually be kind of intended behavior currently, and it may just be some sort of requirement that we need to be clear about if you're using the V3 client in this certain way. So if we do want to update it, it would be a very small, potentially 2-3 line change, just to make sure a mutex is initialized at a certain point. So if anyone on the call has a bit of time to investigate, please let me know. Happy to assign
Yeah,
you.
happy to investigate this one too.
Thanks, Murphy. Okay, so again, I'm guessing it won't let me. Okay.
30, right? Should we also, as we like talk about this issue, should we also update the doc, like what the resolution was at the time?
We
The
should.
Google
Good
Doc?
points. So this one here, is this one we closed? Yes. Murphy's on. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, discuss during triage meeting. Assigned to Murphy codes to investigate. Feel free to ask any questions here if you get stuck. Okay. And if you can just reply to this GitHub comment,
Yeah.
it'll let me assign you. Yeah.
So I guess this is happening because I'm still not a member yet, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No,
If you've been active in a
yeah.
PR or issue, you'll show up in the assignee
that makes
list.
sense.
Okay.
Hold on a minute. Oh, their issue and the PR are the same. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Thanks, Murphy. Okay, next one. Oh, this is a security issue. So on the maintainers mailing list, there was a discussion recently about possible set-aside request forgery for etcd when you're adding a new member to an existing cluster and potentially being malicious in how you do that. So if you supply an interesting peer URL which follows which has a redirect basically to something less than ideal, the other etcd members are going to follow that redirect currently. So that was a pretty straightforward change. I've done that. It's been merged for main. So we no longer follow redirects when checking peer URLs, but there are a number of other areas where etcd has HTTP peer interactions going on. Those also need to be checked and sort of reviewed to see if we need to disable redirects for those as well. If we do, it's a really straightforward change, team. If we look at this PR here, it's only a few lines to the HTTP client, but it's just a matter of investigating which of these it may make sense to also disable redirects for. Is anyone on the call interested in picking this up?
Can I take this one before Muffy
Yeah.
speaks out?
It's certainly, Ivan. Yeah, thanks for volunteering. And look,
Yeah.
if you got any questions as you go, just chuck them in this issue, and obviously Benjamin or Merrick or myself or someone will help out with answers as you go. So
Awesome.
discussed during SIG-etcd triage meeting. Assigned to Ivan to investigate remaining etcd peer HTTP interactions. Okay, and Ivan, I think no. Again, because we haven't got you to member status yet. Hopefully soon, Ivan. Let's get you in.
I just replied. I just replied.
Awesome.
One
And
more
if I go refresh.
URL there. This might be the. I'm not sure if that's the case, but there's a peer prober. I don't know. I don't think it's on the list. Right there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's added through a different mechanism. but I believe that might be also may also fall into this category, like prober URL.
Do you know where that sits in the code base off the top of your head?
I need to look it up. I'll post there.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you can drop a comment in there, that would just make sure we fully kind of close off that rather interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit different mechanism, but I'll post like some pointers where it's created, but you might have to follow a different paths there. So
all good, much appreciated. Okay, so that's that one. Assign to see. Okay, and I think this one here was one we could just close. It was, yeah. So this was an issue that was raised a couple of weeks ago, and the contributor that raised the issue actually raised the PR. It was a simple fix, just in terms of how they were using etcd with WebAssembly. They needed to add a WebAssembly specific compile for socket options, which was done. So we can close this. Closed as completed in 16909. Okay, cool. So that was the initial list of PRs. And issues. There's plenty more, but those are just ones I found in the kind of 10-15 minutes before this call. Website, there is an issue here which it's a good first issue. It's super simple. Is there anyone on the call that has capacity to pick this up? So context is a few months back, 2-3 months back, we marked ARM64 as a tier 1 supported platform for release 3.5 onwards. And we have this table on the website. Let me bring it up. etsy.io/docs. Let's have a look. And it's under the supported platforms page. If the search is going to play nice.
Does it not always? Sometimes
not
it does.
Today, apparently.
Okay, that's a note.
That's
something we need to look into.
Maybe we should be raising that issue today. Let me just find this page. Let's see the supported platforms. This one. Okay, so we have this table, which is very helpful, except we have an entry here for ARM64 marked as tier 1, and we have an entry here for ARM, which is marked as tier 3. And that might be a little bit confusing if you don't realize this is probably referring to ARMHF or like, what's it called, ARM32. So I think we should just update this table to make it clear that this is ARM32 or ARMHF. I noticed, sorry, Nitesh, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, since you mentioned it as a beginner, good first issue, I would be happy to take this issue up and solve that further.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for volunteering. Yeah, it should be a pretty quick one. Let me just add a link in here to the page as well. So it's this one here.
Yeah.
The
We're also
pages
likely to do the 3.6 one as well, just to keep them in sync.
Exactly. Yep. So 3.6. So the table on those two pages, and if we just update this, so discussed during its CD triage meeting, assigned to Nitesh. What's your GitHub user? Maybe just drop it in the chat for me, and I can tag you.
Yes, it's Nitishfy, NITISHFY. Okay, so it's this.
Awesome. Thank you. To raise the pull request. Okay, and I probably can't assign you. Maybe if I refresh because I've tagged you.
No,
yeah, if you can please just drop a comment.
Make a comment or interact with the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they're a part of the board.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, team. So that one we've assigned to Nitish. Okay, cool. So let's have a look. We have about 8 minutes left. Let's see if we can maybe close off a couple more things. I know there is one in website here which I'm kind of on the fence about. So it's an old PR from July. Someone suggested an update to the discovery docs to kind of mention it being V2 specific. The issue is we kind of need to rewrite those whole docs to be talking about V3 discovery, because V2 discovery is like super deprecated, and there is an issue for that. So this PR was sort of verbally rejected. So V2 discovery is deprecated in 3.6. Users are recommended to use V3 discovery. The guide needs to be updated. There is an open issue for that, to add an example on how to use V3 discovery. It seems like there hasn't been any update from this contributor since. So I think we should do one of two things. Either we just close the issue in favor, close the PR in favor of the new issue, or we can ping the contributor one more time, or sort of explicitly ping the contributor and go, hey, thanks for raising the PR. Did you have a chance to look into rewriting this for V3 discovery? I don't know. Murphy, you've got your hand up?
Unrelated. I'll come back to this.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I would close it because, I mean, if they come back to it, they can always reopen it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was going to chime in with the same comment, same advice. Let's close it. Thank them for their time. Let them move on.
Yeah, I mean, they can always come back and reopen it, in which case, like, closing is not a permanent thing, right? So it's like,
yeah. And I think it's like, yeah.
In favor of the issue, which is that one. Happy to reopen this if the original like that. Okay. That's one more off the list, team. Awesome. We now have 4 minutes left. Murphy, take it away.
Yeah, I think Nate, mentioned about the search. Did anyone needed to investigate that the search functionality was not working?
Yeah, we should. So two things. One discovered today. Yes, I think we need to do that. The other thing I would be, I wouldn't jump straight into that right yet. I would open an issue, but based on some of the stuff that we were looking at in the hackathon, not the hackathon, what was the name of that event at KubeCon?
Contrib Fest.
Yes, the Contrib Fest. One of the things I'd like to do, and today actually might not be a bad day to take a look at that. Right now, we can't update. Well, we can, but I'd like to change the way the website is structured. Currently, we're pulling Doxy in from a fork, which makes it difficult to update Doxy. We're at Hugo version, I think 110 or something like that, and we can't move past that without making a Doxy update. And making a Doxy update is a bit of a pain. So one of the things I'd like to do is either update the way we're organizing to either be pulling from upstream Doxy or using like a Hugo module for Doxy. And I think that's probably the better bet. But in order to do that, probably we would need, I can't imagine that would go smoothly without some set of issues popping up. So I would wait until that, I would still open the issue, but I would wait until that work is finished before looking at updating the search, because I'm not entirely, I don't remember if we're using Veil or something. Was it not Veil? What is the search tool that we're using? There's a couple ways of searching. One uses like Algolia or Google, and then there's a way of searching using a static site-generated search index, which is actually the way I prefer to search on these types of sites. So I would open the ticket but hold off.
Yeah. Okay. So let's open this up. So this is probably related to recent upgrades to Hugo Extended. And we should probably finish the journey of updating Doxy in that issue. What are you?
I think it's like
748. Got it.
Yeah, 748. Is that the original? I think there's a couple of.
That's
I think
that's the new one. Yeah, there's another one for this one here
as well. I think
718.
Yeah. There we go.
Before we spend any time.
A note, I think Patrice is off this week, so I can start looking at that update, that reorg, but I'll probably want to ping Patrice because he's got a lot more sort of more recent experience with Doxy before I might open a draft PR, but I would ignore that until Patrice chimes in.
All good.
Yeah, I just tested the patch right now. It actually did work. So on a Chrome, on a Mac OS. So there could be some device.
Might be one of my extensions or something is messing with it. It has worked for me recently as well. So I don't know. Bit of fun and games. Okay, team, we have a grand total of about 1 minute left. I think that has been a pretty successful triage meeting. We've managed to close off a few things off our lists. And we've assigned a few things out. Many thanks to volunteers who have dived in to pick some things up. As always, as you start tinkering with those issues and PRs, you may have questions. Just please leave comments in there with any questions you have, and we will help out as much as we can. Hopefully, I will see you all in about a fortnight to hopefully close off some more things. Yeah. Have a wonderful rest of the day, team. Any last thoughts before we close off?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, team. Have a good day. We'll see you later.